Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit Sports Talk. And today we are going to give you our top 5 running backs in this season. And we'll give you a little reasoning on why we picked it because, Maddie and I never agree. So
yeah, plus we always get shit in the comments whenever we do this. So it's nice to say our thinking behind it before everybody slags us off.
So, Maddie, are we just going to go 5-1 backwards order, leading up to the top? All right.
Sounds good to me. Ascending order.
I'm going to tell you, 4 and 5, I literally had 4 or 5 guys that I was just literally going back and forth with. I won't tell you who they are right now. If anybody wants to know, ask, I'll tell you, but I don't want to give away my list by shooting who my 4 or 5 guys I had for 2 spots. But at number 5 coming in, I have Christian McCaffrey. Yes, you can fucking crush me, people. If he was not injured, I guarantee you he would have been a lot higher on my list. I almost left him off my list because I left King Henry off the list because he's out for the rest of the regular season, which is, it was one of those weird things. I was going to leave McCaffrey off the list literally till I watched him play yesterday. 95 rushing yards, 10 receptions, 66 yards after coming back. And I'm like, there's no way you can leave this kid off the top 5.
I've kind of gone for it in a different way. So I've kind of looked at the top 5 running backs you want on your roster for life.
Okay.
Like that's so yes, I agree with you. N'Keal Henry is going to struggle to get onto a list for this season, even though isn't he still the top rusher, even though he's missed 2 games or something surreal. He's in the top 5 rushers. And
I think he's actually tied right now for the number 1 rushing and missed those games.
Yeah, even though he's missed 2 games, he's still tied for the number 1. But I totally get you. McCaffrey is an absolute stud as well. I've got Ezekiel Elliott is my number 5. Ezekiel Elliott has more.
He was one of mine in the mix. He was one of mine in the mix, and he's the guy I wrote down first.
For me, he's the top of that next tier of guy that starts at like 4, 5-ish. Like he's in that. So like there's tiers inside of tiers, and Ezekiel Elliott has with him, he has the leadership, he has the blocking quality. I think he really showed that on display at the Falcons. I would say he's probably the strongest blocking running back. One of the strongest blocking running backs.
He can catch, even though he's not on the same level as McCaffrey and a couple guys. He can still catch out the backfield. I know it's hard.
Yeah, of course, and he's the biggest all-rounder, I would say, in terms of blocking, leadership, catching, and running. Because he still has that burst of speed. People are taking the piss out of him, saying that he's slow and running in treacle now. But no, just Kieran Pollard just makes him. Tony Pollard just makes him look really fucking slow because he's so quick. Like it's a different. He has that turn of place. It's just they find it difficult to break him open because he runs the wide receivers open, whereas Tony Pollard runs because he's open because they're covering the wide receivers. So I think Zeke is my number 5.
Well, moving on to 4. Who do you got at 4?
Dalvin Cook at number 4, who actually might be the best or one of the best runners in this league. I think he really shows it in the big time plays. Dalvin Cook. I think he comes forward when the team really need him, and he is an absolute monster. Don't get me wrong. He's an absolute animal to be in the top 5 running backs when a lot of these teams have at least 2, maybe even 3 top quality running backs is incredible. And Dalvin Cook is something else in the backfield, an incredible weapon.
All right. Like I said before, if King Henry was on this list, everybody would have been shoved down 1, just so everybody knows that. But he's out. So my number 4 running back, and I think some people are going to look at me sideways, but I feel like he is the second biggest driving force on his team, and that is Aaron Jones.
Wow, that caught me off guard, but I totally see where you're going with that. So Aaron Jones, I think, is one of those people who doesn't kind of get the credit he deserves.
He's so all around. He's the Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook type of running back. And I think in today's NFL, that's huge. And I think maybe that's why, you know what I mean?
He's almost a slot receiver more than a running back a lot of the time. And I really like that pick. It's caught me out of left field, but I really, really like that pick. Good pick. I like Aaron Jones a lot. He's a top quality guy.
Well, at number 3, I literally was going back and forth if it was going to be the guy I have or Dalvin Cook. I was going back and forth on them. So we weren't too far off on our thoughts of Dalvin Cook. But I got Nick Chubb. And the only reason I put him under Dalvin for this is because Dalvin is so much more explosive, like for the back, coming out of the backfield, catching, that kind of things. And in Minnesota, I feel like he's more important just because in Cleveland, they have Kamara. I mean, they have, wow, I just went blank.
Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt. So I feel like, not that it should, but it almost devalues Chubb a little bit on that team.
Yeah, I've actually gone for Nick Chubb at number 3 as well. Obviously, for me, he's now above Cook. But yeah, I've got him at number 3. I just think he's what a running back is to me, where he can do a little bit of everything, but the dude can run, most importantly. Like, he just runs and runs and runs and runs, works really hard for the team, is the kind of guy that they really want in Cleveland. Him and Cook are very interchangeable for me on this list, but I think I've seen more from Nick Chubb than I've seen from Dalvin Cook, but I'm not sure whether that's Dalvin Cook's fault. That might just be from whenever I've watched the Minnesota Vikings compared to when I've watched the Cleveland Browns, is all.
I could be a complete homer, but I feel like Dalvin Cook is maybe the purest running back coming out of the backfield with his vision. And everybody already knows how fast and elusive he is. But what I love about Dalvin Cook is he's one of those guys, if you catch him coming out the backfield on a screen or a little hitch outside, he can take it the distance. I'm not saying Chubb can't. That's just not how they use him.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. Chubb is just a more run it down your throat kind of guy. And I think in today's NFL, if you have the guy that can run your wide receivers open like Zeke and that kind of stuff, then that's great, as well as having kind of the Dalvin Cook and Aaron Jones. So your number 2 is Dalvin Cook, right?
Yeah, and let's not beat a dead horse, so feel free to go on with yours.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey is my number 2. Due to the fact...
I don't blame you, though. I got him 5, and I still don't blame you for putting him number 2.
Yeah. Due to the fact that Christian McCaffrey is the best. I said Zeke is the best all-round because of his blocking. But really, if you take what you want a running back to be on your offense, you want Christian McCaffrey because he can run, and he can run in between the tackle. He can run in between the tackles. That's what really impresses me about him. But more importantly, him out of the backfield is absolutely devastating to everybody. He's had a long time off. He is really injury prone, which is an issue with him being on your roster going forward. But when he has time off, he comes in and he blows it up like he did last week.
And yes, he gets injured a lot, and I call him injury prone, but I kind of want to throw this out there. Is he injury prone, or is it that he's 80% of the offense, so he just takes a freaking beating?
Yeah, if you put him in like a regime like the
Packers.
KC, Packers, Vikings, Cowboys, if you put him there, does he get kind of as many touches, which means he doesn't get beaten up because he runs in between the tackles really well and makes a lot of yards, but he's still not a massive guy. And that's not to say he's not tough as fucking shit, but right. You know he's going to play. But you also know if he is injured, he's going to find a way to play in the playoffs as well. I feel like he's more likely to be injured in the regular season when there's not a lot more to play for.
Well, since we're on to number 1, and I'm pretty sure I know who you got, I'll let you lead it off.
King Henry is my number 1 due to the fact that he's unstoppable.
I do think he's the best running back in football, but like we talked about,
he's the same kind of guy as how we speak about Lamar Jackson, where you know exactly what he's going to do, but you can't stop it. And ultimately, that's if you have an unstoppable weapon in your offense, then you have an unstoppable weapon and there's nothing the other team can do about it. The only way to stop him is for him to get injured, and he's still the top rusher in the league, and he's been injured for the past 2 games. Top rusher in the league, sorry.
My number 1 running back in the NFL right now this year, Jonathan Taylor. I believe Jonathan Taylor is, and this was brought to my attention by somebody who follows Yankee and the Brit, so shout out. I never thought about it this way until he said it to me. And the more I watched, and I've been a big Jonathan Taylor fan since he was a Badger, but he's everything they wanted Saquon to be. He's everything the Giants wanted Saquon to be. And this year, Jonathan Taylor is balling his ass off. He's picking up blocks. He's catching out of the backfield. So right now, with King Henry out, Jonathan Taylor, my number one running back in football.
See, in my mind, I've never really thought about Jonathan Taylor in that kind of way. So I'm gonna have to watch him a little bit more. I would put him in that same kind of tier as like Zeke and people like that. Definitely is where
I had him in that kind of tier until I really started watching him this year. And that guy said to me, he's everything that the Giants were hoping Saquon would be. And the guy who told me he's not even a Colts fan. So that was kind of, you know what I mean? So I'm like, hey, I got to start looking at him in that light. And for the last couple of weeks, I have been. And then I went back just to make sure I wasn't crazy and watched some of his highlights from this year. And I'm like, I know when you come from Wisconsin, you can run the holes that are big enough to drive a dump truck through. So a Wisconsin running back's never known if he's going to be like, you don't really know if Melvin Gordon was going to be the college Melvin Gordon. You know what I mean?
You don't know if an Alabama quarterback's going to be any good.
Right. So, but Jonathan Taylor, man, had okay, last year came on at the end. And this year I'm seeing like, okay, this is exactly why they drafted this kid.
Yeah, of course. And he's a fantastic running back who I think I'm going to have to watch a little bit more. There's a few running backs I'd like to quickly mention as people like that who need to have people watch them a little bit more rather than they're the top tier, but maybe they would be the top tier if people really paid attention to them. Kyle Edmonds for the Arizona Cardinals has played some outstanding football so far this season. I know he's injured at the minute, but I feel like he could be one of those guys that could really, really press on as well.
Yeah, and just to throw it out there now, so my bottom four, I had four guys for the bottom two spots. It was Aaron Jones, Christian McCaffrey, Ezekiel Elliott, and Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara, obviously. Oh my God, neither of us.
They don't use him as much as I think they should, so therefore he kind of doesn't get the recognition he should get.
Yeah, of course. I think Alvin Kamara has I don't know why we didn't even think of him, but having thought of him, I'd still have him at number 6 now. But I think the fact that I didn't think about him kind of shows how Alvin Kamara's kind of fallen a little bit. And
Melvin Gordon, not Melvin Gordon. Ingram comes back, has a huge game for them. Like, so there's always something seems to go on in New Orleans that takes the shine off of Kamara a little bit, even though he's a monster.
Yeah, definitely. And he's possibly in the Christian McCaffrey mold and Dalvin Cook mold of one of the best guys out the backfield, you know?
Well, we'll see if you agree, but me and you kind of look at this the same way, I believe. We look at Derrick Henry, Ezekiel Elliott, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb. We look at Christian McCaffrey, Aaron Jones, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara. It's two different types of backs.
It's how you want to use them. So in an offense like Minnesota, maybe not Minnesota, in an offense like the Cowboys or the Buccaneers, they'd be a good example where your wide receivers are just going to dominate if you get them into man-to-man. Then you just want a guy who can run it down the throat every single time, who's able to just hold on to that ball and just run it down the throat. But if you want that extra weapon out of the backfield, then you want a guy on that other side. So if you're a team like the LA Chargers, Austin Eckler, we didn't even mention.
Right. And teams like, let's use your example, though. Let's say the Cowboys and the Vikings, right? So your backup in Pollard is more like cooking them, whereas our backup in Madsen is more like just hit you in the mouth straight forward. So teams do that 1-2 punch. It's just what guy do you got that's better, and what do you put more of an emphasis on with your offense?
Yeah, so the NFL running back is a new. The NFL running back has started to become more of a two-headed monster as they've realized, hey, maybe we can save some of these guys to have them for a bit longer if we don't just run them on every single play as well, which I think is a really important point.
Yeah, and like where the Browns are the anomaly, they have a guy in Chubb that'll hit you in the mouth. It's at the top. And I don't care what anybody says. If we broke these into two categories, right? Kareem Hunt's definitely in the top 10 of those Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones types guys. So they got two top of the line guys, but different running backs. So
I I think what makes the guys that we've put in our top five is they could be in the top 10 of both categories, like no
Correct.
matter what they wanted to do. Apart from maybe Henry, but he's just at the
I don't know,
top,
he
so
can catch
far
too,
at the
though.
top.
He
He's
can
so
catch,
far
they
at the
just
top.
don't run that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah. There's no point in him running it because what's the point? He'll just run it instead. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope he's back for the playoffs, though. I really like watching him run, so I really hope he's back
And he makes
for the
the
playoffs.
Tennessee Titans something totally different as well. But Adrian Peterson's playing some good football, had some nice moves this weekend. So
Well, he's an alien.
yeah, he's a freak, isn't he? Him
Yeah,
and Tom
he's
Brady.
an alien. He's not human. There's no way that guy at that age is human. So
It's the avocado ice cream. He's on the Tom Brady diet, I'm
Right.
convinced.
then I'm doing good because I've been
He's
eating a
got
lot of avocado ice cream. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We will give you also a preview of next week. And next week, we are going to drop you our top 5 quarterbacks.
All right, great. I'll start thinking about them now. I need to start thinking about how to get Dak Prescott into the top 5 without you crucifying me.
I know this is a little off subject, Maddie, but there are some teams out there that you don't ever want to jump on the bandwagon because you're always waiting for the other shoe to fall off. And the Cowboys are always one of those teams for me. And now you have me starting to believe. So if they go in the shitter, I'm blaming you.
Oh, fuck. Shit.
No, you're getting me to believe. I'm starting to believe in your team the more the season goes on. So I hope it's not one of those, oh, shit, why'd I do that?
Yeah. Also, look out for our top 10 power rankings. That'll be coming out this week as soon as the Rams game is over because we're recording this before the Rams game.
And who knows? That's got to change a lot. I didn't even put thought into it much yet. I was going to do that tonight during the game while I'm watching.
I can't do it without watching the Rams. I need to watch the Rams to find out where everybody else is.
Yeah, it's going to be very weird. I figure the bottom of our there's going to be movement. There's going to be movement. Check it out.
There's going to be movement every single week. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.